Hey guys, Dwayne back, and 2 videos in one day. I was giving some thought to this one. I'm actually going to be answering a thread, something I haven't done in quite a while. And I'm going to be answering Todd's thread, Greeno, his one and done thread. And basically this is a thread where we're to show a band that released one album, and that was it, and then they were done. He said that, you know, if they released one studio album and then like a live album or something, that's fine, but only one studio album. So I actually picked 3 because nobody shows just one in the VC, right? So, and actually I could have picked quite a few. So what I wanted to do was I kind of went through and I picked 3 from actually 3 kind of different genres. All of which I believe are just absolutely killer albums. 2 of them I chose because they're albums that I personally love so much that any chance I can get to spread the word about these 2 bands, I will. So I'm going to start with, I think I'll do that last. So, okay, I'm going to do the one that you're hearing now. And for anybody that likes 80s synth pop, new wave, whatever you want to call it, this band right here, this is their only album. They did release some 7 inches and I believe a couple of 12 inches, all from this album, but that was it. And the name of the band is The Stabilizers. And the band, or the name of the album is Tyranny, and this is the title track I'm playing now. It's the first track on side 1. This is a promo copy. I actually have 2 copies of this, both promos, because I love this album so much. You know, I love 80s new wave, synth pop, whatever. So anybody that likes bands like Flock of Seagulls, Duran Duran, you know, more of that mainstream synth pop, you gotta check this album out. This is one of those albums where it's like, how could this only be their only album? Because every song on this album is so good. Song for song, beginning to end, this album rocks. So, I mean, look at that. Does that say 80s or what, right? It's 2 guys, Rich Nevins and Dave Christensen. I can't remember which is which, but when I look at this guy right here, I automatically think Men Without Hats, right? So anyway, Stabilizers, Tyranny. You can find this. It is kind of rare, but it'll pop up time and again, usually in a bargain bin because nobody knows what the hell it is. But this is so good. So if you like 80s, you know, new wave, synth pop, or whatever, find this album. Find this album. I guarantee you will like this. Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to change it up a bit, and had to show a metal band, right? I mean, come on. So I chose this because number 1, it's so good. Number 2, it was almost a little ahead of its time, I think. But plus, I know that Greeno showed a Canadian metal band as one of his picks. So, how fitting, right? So this is First Among Equals by Dioxin. And this is a Canadian metal band. This is their only LP. They did have a demo, but every band has a demo, right? So this was their actual only studio released LP. And these guys are almost like progressive thrash. Like I said, it was a little ahead of its time, I think. It was thrash, but kind of progressive. Just very cool stuff. And, you know, it's like, whatever happened to these guys, man? You know? So, pretty tough album to find. I actually had found this sealed. I can't remember what I paid for it. I want to say like $3 or $5. But just killer stuff. So Dioxin. So that one. And then this one, this is the other band that I just can't talk high enough about. In the 80s, this is another 80s band, and in the 80s, in the not just new wave, but there were so many like bands that were trying to form their own kind of style, their own niche, so to speak. One of those bands that I think of in that genre is kind of like Wall of Voodoo, where Wall of Voodoo was a band that said, hey, we're going to take like the New Mexico, Arizona desert, tumbleweed, brush kind of thing, and we're going to blend that style into like a new wave style of music. You know, from their musical style to their appearance. You know, Stan Ridgway wore like the suit with the Colonel Saunders tie, you know, that kind of thing. Well, this band, and you'll know when I say the name, kind of what they were going for. And this is a self-titled LP. This was their only album. And this is another one where it's like, my God, song for song on this album is so damn good. It's definitely tough to find. I actually also have it on CD, which is probably one of the rarest CDs I own, because one of the band members actually had it reprinted, or actually had it printed for the first time, I think. And I think there was only like 100 copies, and he sold them on his website, which is now defunct and gone. And I happen to be one of the guys that ordered one, and it's like just the rarest CD I think that I own. But anyway, the LP, as well as a couple 12 inches off this album, were released. And it's the self-titled album by the band The Unforgiven. Okay, and this band, okay, look at the name, The Unforgiven. So think of the movie The Unforgiven, right, with Clint Eastwood. And then just look at these guys. Okay, it's that Old West, you know, / Civil War kind of thing. Almost kind of like the style The Alarm had going, except these guys took it much more true grit, I guess, style. And you would think, looking at this, that this is like a country album, and it's not at all. It's a total 80s rock. I don't want to say new wave. It's definitely more of a rock, but the music captures that look right there. And I'll show you a picture of them on the back. Little bit of kind of like The Call. But just, I mean, you know, the songs, I'll read the titles. All Is Quiet on the Western Front, Hang 'em High, I Hear the Call, Rover Pack, Cheyenne, as in the Indian, The Gauntlet, With My Boots On, The Ghost Dance, The Loner, The Preacher, which is just a fucking phenomenal song, and Grace. And each one of the songs is like a total story. Centered in this time period. I mean, it's just so cool. The Preacher, for example, that song is a story about, you know, the lead singer is singing about this preacher that came to town, right? This unknown preacher that rolls into town in his wagon, and, you know, after a few days, people start disappearing, and finally his sister disappears, and he knows the preacher's the one that took her, and so he sets out on his horse with his father's gun to go, you know, kill the preacher. And it's just such killer stuff, man. So I cannot recommend this band enough. You know, I think they even played at Live Aid, as a matter of fact, back in the 80s. This came out in 1986. Same as the Stabilizers. But you know, definitely check these guys out. I know you can look them up on YouTube, as well as the Stabilizers. You can look them up as well. So if you guys want to sample what this band is, so good, so good. So, all right, Todd, there's my answers, man. 3 of them for you. Like I said, I could have picked a ton, you know, but wanted to kind of have 3 different things for you. So, killer question for a thread, man. So, can't wait to see the other responses. Peace. Stay in the groove. Cheers.